Hello, everybody. Thankful that you would join, and definitely we are pleased, we are blessed that you would tune in today to the Endangered series. We're going to be going and talking about over the next, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how God leads us. We definitely want to address some of the things that are transpiring in our country and the world, actually. But the objective of this Endangered series, I'll get into momentarily. I want to thank everyone. I see Miss Rebecca. Send us your comments. Definitely wave at us. Let us know that you're online, that you are following us, that you're definitely tuned in, because we welcome your comments, your questions. I don't know if I'll be able to get to the questions, but we're going to go back and look at your feedback. And so we definitely want to thank you. I see Pastor Jackson that is tuned in. Thank you. Thank you. I want to give some other people an opportunity to tune in. So we are definitely appreciative of you tuning in today. We see Andy. Thank you for tuning in. It's going to be a blessed occasion. I am so happy. I'm glad you're here too, Rebecca. I'm so happy that in these times we can come together, we can talk about, we can have some conversation that will prayerfully give some enlightenment to people that may not be able to identify what is happening to Afro-American people, specifically our Afro-American black men. And so I think these are things that should be addressed. These are things that should be talked about. But first, before I go on any further, I definitely want to say we're praying for each and every person on this call that's watching, that will be watching. We're praying for you. We're lifting you up, you and your family, whether you are an Afro-American man, black man that is trying to traverse the terrain of what's going on, what's transpiring currently right now. And so we're going to be lifting you up. Miss Margaret, we see you. Selena, we see you. We thank you for tuning in. Before I start, I want to go into a few details, but mainly today I'm going to share a story with you, a story that will possibly bring the heart and the tenor of where I am and why this strikes me so deeply. A few years ago, no more than about 4 or 5 years ago, 2016, about 4 years ago, I was sitting here in my home and I received a call. I received a call from my mother, and she lives there in East Texas, and she calls me and she tells me that one of my first cousins had been shot, killed, and left for dead on some train tracks, railroad tracks. At that moment, my heart, everything that I ever known, start to spin. I didn't know what to say. I was speechless. Not only myself, but of course his parents, grandparents, and all of our entire family was reeling behind the news that we had received, that he had been shot dead, left for dead, and ultimately left family members grieving. We didn't know the fullness of what had happened, but after days and weeks went by, we discovered that he had been shot by a Caucasian white man, and 2 other white assailants had killed him. At that moment, going through history and going through seeing the world go through racism and things of that nature, in spite of what had happened between them, no one deserves to die at gunpoint. So with that, over time, we don't really know. Of course, those individuals that killed him was brought to justice. But what rings in my head and my heart, that there are so many injustices, there's so many people that are killed, that are Afro-American black men, that are never, their assailants, their killers are never brought to justice. It bothers me, of course, even today, just to even think about that incident, being so close. And so, coming full circle, here I stand here today, meditating and trying to process everything that has happened with Mr. Floyd, dying at the hands of people that were supposed to be protecting him, though his life was taken away. That is the essence of what most black men are experiencing right now. They're questioning, what do I do? How do I respond to this? So I pray over the next few weeks, this will be a platform. The main purpose is, let's talk truth. Let's talk truth. Let's examine the truth for what's in people's heart, what's in a black man's mind as he tries to walk through what is happening to the men of his culture. Because when we walk out of the door as black men, as Afro-American men, many times we walk out of our doors, our homes, and we have to process things a little bit differently. That may seem strange, but when you start to sit down, and that's one of the very first things, whether you are a person of color or not, if you're trying to process this, the best place to process this is at the source. That is at the place where it occurs most often. That is with Afro-American black men. And so sit down with one of them, one-on-one, listen to their heart. And I believe that they will be able to give you some clarity as to what it means and how does it feel to walk this situation out, but also what they have experienced in their lives over the years. Now, when you start to speak your truth and tell your story as well, and that's one of the things I want to encourage every black African-American man, tell your story. Tell your story from your heart, that others may understand why you feel the way you feel, why you are the person that you are. Now, when you start to speak your truth, let me share something with you. When you start to speak your truth, it may be uncomfortable, not only for you, but for others to hear. It may be uncomfortable for you to hear a black man say that when I'm driving in my car and when I leave my home, I'm praying that I will return to my wife or to my children. That is our truth. And that may not be your situation, but for black men, Afro-American men, many times we leave praying that we will get back safely. Because when we're driving or when we're experiencing someone coming behind us, whether it's law enforcement or not, or when we're walking on the sidewalk, or we don't know if a car drives up, what type of danger we may or may not be in. Speak your truth. Tell your truth, whether it is uncomfortable for other people or not. But also, build a platform for the voice that God has given you. If you don't have a platform, build one. Today, my platform that God has laid up on my heart is coming to you via Facebook Live. And some of you may be saying, well, how do I tell my story? Many of you are gifted. You're writers. You're psalmists. You're able to design clothing. Whatever, you're a person of influence. Whatever God has equipped you with, use it as a platform to get out to the message of injustice and the expectation that we have, whether on our government or law enforcement or people that are not of color. I want you to use your platform, and if you do not feel like you have one, build one. Build one. And then next, change the conversation. If you are in a place where you are experiencing coming and a conversation with someone that you know that is not pleasant, that you know is not the tenor and the tone that it should be, make change. Speak up. Not only hold yourself accountable, but hold other people accountable as well. That is the only way change will take place. Holding a muzzle on our voice will not make change. We will only make change and in this world when we speak. Is that not how God even created the world? He spoke it into existence. You have to use your voice. Speak, and there will be change. Speak it. What you speak, you give life to it. Hold others accountable. Hold yourself accountable. May I just be honest with you? I'm processing. I took some time to say, well, how do I really feel? As a father, as a husband, as a friend, as a son. How do I process this with Mr. Floyd seeing this being a black man myself? How do I process this? So I thought about other individuals as well, and I want to encourage. We're going to have a platform for some time, some sessions for our ladies, our mothers of color, or those that have black men and young Afro-American boys that's they're rearing up. I'm going to take some time to bring them in and hear their thoughts and allow you to hear what's going on in their minds and how they are having the process, having us in their lives. But I got to be honest with you. I went to God and I said, God, can I just express how I feel? Can I express how I really feel? Because right now, the one word that comes to mind is I feel endangered. Like an endangered species. Not knowing how long, how many years, how many days I have. Am I protected or am I not protected? And many of you right now, you're having the process. Your sons, your husbands, your nephews are having the process. How long do we have? So I went to God, I'm going to be honest with you, and I asked him. I told him, I just released everything that I had. And I said, God, I feel like I am endangered. And God had to remind me, I know that's how you feel, but what do you know, son? What do you know? I said, God, I know. Even as your word says, I know I feel like I'm in danger, but I know that I am more than a conqueror. That I am of a royal priesthood and of a holy nation. I know I am your child. So today I want to encourage someone and let you know that you may feel whatever it may be, but just know you're more than a conqueror in Christ Jesus. I said, God, I'm discouraged. That's how I feel. I'm discouraged seeing a man killed in broad daylight, not in the shadows, but in broad daylight, watching, lynched in the middle of the day. I said, God, I'm discouraged. And God had to remind me that even David, while being discouraged, he had to encourage himself. So I implore you, I encourage you to take some time and encourage yourself, but not only encourage that individual, that black man, that Afro-American man that you know, pull him over to the side and say, be encouraged. Say, God, I feel like I'm living in chaos. I feel like I'm living in chaos as Moses, his mother, seeing the plight that he was in, placed him in a little ark and put him in the midst of a river, in the midst of chaos. That's what I feel like we're in. I feel like we're in the midst of chaos, but God had to remind me also that he was put in the midst of chaos, but he was also drawn out. He was drawn out. And that's a word for somebody, that you will be drawn out. Some kind of way, God will draw us out of this situation. No matter if we know that it has been since over 2,000 years, 400 years. We've been experiencing injustice, but our hope is that God will draw us out. I know how I feel, God. I feel discouraged and chaos, but I know that he will draw us out. Like God's servant Joseph, I went on and I'm processing things. I said, God, I feel, when I look at this country, I feel betrayed by evil actions and hidden agendas, intentions, like Joseph. Unbeknownst to him, things going on in the dark that he cannot see. That's how I feel. That the evil of certain people can be initiated upon us and not held, and they not be held accountable. Like Joseph, God reminded me, I know how you feel, but do you know that you are called for a purpose in this earth? For even such a time as this, every individual on this call, you wouldn't be watching unless God did not intend for you to use your voice, use your action, use your willpower. You have a purpose even now, even in this. And then, lastly, I couldn't but help think about how I feel. How did Jesus feel knowing that he would be beaten, he would be killed? I don't know. I'm praying that my son, my other brothers, whether family, friends, doesn't experience the atrocities that we have seen. We're on high alert. Let me just be honest. We're on high alert. Watching. I was jogging just this morning, just taking a stroll just to clear my mind. And I come to an intersection and I see a guy running. He's a white guy, I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm coming from one direction, he coming from the other. And as I run, we make eye contact. We just basically acknowledge, and I keep running. And no more than 50 yards away, I look over my shoulder. I look over my shoulder. I never did that in my life. I've been running for years, just taking a stroll. And I look over my shoulder. Why? Why? Because, see, I don't know if he has an axe to grind. I don't know. I'm not trying to place any type of perception on him and not knowing him. But all I know is what I've seen and what I've experienced. I keep running, and less than a mile away, I see a white couple running or coming in my direction on the same sidewalk. This is today. I'm no more than 30 feet away. And the man gets off of the sidewalk and gets into the middle of the street and keeps walking. I'm a runner. I'm not a threat. I'm not a threat. But that's how society has deemed us, as a threat. God reminded me that I know how you feel. Jesus was crucified and died, but just know, like him, you will live. You will live. Live, man, live. Young, vibrant, black man, live. And live with all the vitality that you have. Live. Don't allow what society, racism, you live, and you live to the best of your ability. Listen. Listen to the heart of people, of Afro-American men, and I'm about finished. And the reason why I say listen is this. The only way you will be able to relate to some degree, the only way you will be able to listen to the heart of people is you have to understand their experiences. I can't identify with child labor. My wife, my mother, some of the women in my life, they could tell me, but I can never identify with morning sickness, labor, like a person that experienced cancer. I can't identify with chemotherapy. And I wouldn't insult them to tell them that I understand, because I never will. I cannot identify with someone telling me that they've been abused, physically beaten in a relationship and had to run back into it, unless I talk with them. And I will only get a minute understanding. But I can empathize, I can sympathize with them, talk with people. Talk with a black man, a teenager, that's a young black man that you see as angry. He just is trying to express himself. Talk to them. Listen to their heart. Listen to their heart and not their head. See, we miss it sometimes. Not listening. Lastly, in one word, I want to ask you to do this. This last segment of this session, I'm going to call it one word. One word. And the reason why I'm going to call the last segment of this first Endangered series one word is because I call some brothers of mine, I call them my brothers, my friends, my family. These are all black, strong Afro-American men. I call them today and I asked them, I said, give me one word. Give me one word that will describe how you feel and what you are experiencing right now. One word. just for to keep them anonymous, I'm just going to say Mr. E. Let's just say that. The first black man that I called, I said, give me one word. He says, the word that comes to mind is peace. Peace. He says, I have peace. But before I got off the phone, he says, wait, I want to tell you, but I have fear as well, and I fear for my family and my children. The next man, his name is, I would say, Mr. J. Mr. J, I said, I need one word, one word. What is your one word? But he said, my one word is, in spite of everything that has happened, Christopher, I'm determined. I'm determined. Mr. G, he says, looking at everything, he says, my one word is uncertainty. Because I don't know what's going to happen. Uncertainty. Mr. H, he says, I just got to be honest with you, Christopher. That's a hard question. And after he grappled for a moment, he says, can I just be truthful? My word is suspicious. I'm suspicious because I don't know. I don't know what the intentions of our government. I don't know. I'm suspicious. It wasn't peace for him. It wasn't uncertainty. It wasn't determined. He says, I'm suspicious. And anybody suspicious, they have a reason deep down to be suspicious because they're saying, I don't know and I don't feel like I can trust what I can't see and what I'm not in the environment of. Mr. J, he says, I'm cautious. That was his one word. Mr. G, he says, looking at what we've experienced, this Floyd situation, his one word was setback. Setback. Mr. R, he says, I have peacefulness. Peacefulness. Mr. A, he says, confusion. Mr. M, he says, anger. 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 I have to empathize and sympathize with all of them. Their one word exemplifies where they are as black men. One said, I know yours is endangered, Christopher, but mine is treachery. Treachery. The last person that I spoke with today, let's just say he's Mr. B. Mr. B, it was interesting what happened with our conversation. The very first thing that he said came to mind. Mr. B said, I'm satisfied. Now, some of you may be offended. You may say, well, satisfied? Satisfied? How could you be satisfied? Well, you got to understand the context, the tenor of what he was saying. I got off the phone after hearing satisfied, and I understood what he was saying. He was basically saying, I know that everything that's happening, with everything that's happening, God is still in control. Basically saying, it is well with my soul. Whatever state that I'm in, I'm content. I understood what he was saying. In fact, he called me back to change it. He says, wait a minute, that doesn't sound too well. So let's just use let's just use hopeful. And I said, no, just stick with what was in your heart. And that was satisfied because I understood what he was saying. What am I saying to you? The reason why I could understand what his spirit was saying, because I could catch him in the spirit. I could catch him with where he was. Why? Because we had built a relationship over the years. He and I, friends, we had built relationship. So when he said satisfied, I wasn't offended. Where are you going with this? A few years ago, a man knelt down. He knelt down to basically bring awareness to racism in this country. He knelt down on one knee on a sideline, a peaceful protest. And he was deemed a heretic. He was deemed an angry black man. He was deemed Mr. Colin Kaepernick knelt down peacefully. And the reason why he was deemed the enemy was because people didn't catch him in his spirit. They saw his actions, but they didn't read his heart. And that's what I would end this moment with you. Catch us in our spirit. Hear our heart. Hear our cry. Then you will truly understand. Now, years later, the man wrote, a white guy, he wrote an article saying, I apologize to Mr. Kaepernick. Because during that time, I didn't understand. And my question is, are we taking the time to truly understand the heart, the tenor of the Afro-American, the black man in America and in this world? Are we taking the time, or are we simply ignoring their silent cry? This has been the first series of many, I pray, of the Endangered series. I pray that something has been said to encourage you, to let you know to go out, if you're not a person of color, to go out and talk with us, to bring an understanding and awareness of the plight, the atrocities. We're going to continue to pray for the Floyd family, for every black man, every person of color. I'm going to be praying for you. If you don't mind, send me a comment, a question, and we'll try to get to those as the weeks and days to come. May God bless you, and may God keep you. And in closing, one word that was off the list that I noticed was love. Was love. None of the men that I talked with, and I asked for that one word, said love. But God is love. And if God is love, why are we not exemplifying that love? May God bless you. May God keep you, is my prayer. Hey, send me a comment, question. Reach out to me. Reach out to me. May God bless you. May God keep you. We'll see y'all next week. Same time, same place. Here at the Endangered series.